Hey, it's Kendrick with Technology Interpreters, and so today we're going to be completing Hack the Box starting point Crocodile. We're going to be doing some PHP and FTP exploiting to get the flag. So let's get started. So first of all, we need to start off like we always do. We start off using nmap, and we're going to use the -sc switch, which is default scripts, which means it runs a lot of commands. It's really noisy. It's not something you use if you're a more advanced hacker. And we're also going to use the SV, which gives us the version number of the software that we're trying to interrogate to eventually exploit. Going to run this nmap scan. Be right back. Now that was a very quick scan. What we see here is that we have 21 open, which is FTP, and we have the version of FTP, which is 3.0.3 VS FTP, by the way. That's very important. And then also we have TCP port 80 open, and we're running Apache server 2.4.41. This is all very good information. Make a mental note. By the way, we have some questions to answer at the end. So please make sure you're kind of making a note or jotting this information down. So the next thing we need to do is we need to do FTP. Let's do FTP -H. And so this gives us the syntax, like the order of this. So FTP dash whatever dash there's host address. You can do FTP user add host dot, once again, more advanced stuff. We'll get to that. But in the meantime, the first thing we see is since we have FTP open, we're going to FTP to the IP address of the server, which we have here. All right, and so we connect it. And so based on what I'm seeing here, we're not going to use any username or password. So let's try anonymous. All right, so some servers are configured to allow anonymous connections. You don't need, which means you simply don't need a username and password. So now that we're on the server, we can type help, and this gives us a list of FTP commands. Okay, so this is why we're doing this. And once again, when you change sales, we were on our machine issuing stuff from the Linux side. Now we're on an Apache server and or FTP server, and we want to understand the different commands. And particularly, what you want to look at is the get command and the put command. These are some of the ones that you're going to more commonly use when you're doing FTP. Now that we're on the server, let's go ahead and type directory so we can list the folders here. And you see wow. So within this folder, we got an allowed user list and allowed user.password list. And so we think this is something that's possibly left over from web server configuration or something like that. So what we want to do is we want to get these files and we want to copy them to our hard drive. So we simply type the get command, allowed.user list. Boom, got that. And then .password. So now that we retrieve those are both going to be in the folder from wherever I launched the FTP program. That's the folder where we're going to find those files. But we'll get there in just a second. To leave the FTP program, simply type exit. And now we're going to type ls to be able to list the folder. So there are those two files. Now the cat command simply displays the contents of a file. So we're going to first cat allowed user.list. There it is. And that's going to give us a list of usernames that are in this password file. Then we're going to cat allowed user list.password. So now we've got usernames and we've got passwords. So we're already through this hack. So now we're going to connect to the FTP server again. And we're going to run these against the server. So we'll try a few, because once again, this is an exercise. We'll try admin, and let's try, oh, well, login fail. And so the key that you want to see here, and they've done this on purpose once again to kind of really narrow the scope of what you're learning, right? So that you can digest this. This FTP server is anonymous only, which means it does not accept username and password. You can only log in with anonymous. So that kind of cuts things down for us at this point. So now we're going to have to transition our method. So we have two things that we detected with our nmap scan. We had FTP and we also had port 80. So let's go ahead and copy here. Port 80 and 443 typically are where you're going to find websites. So we'll paste the link here, and this is going to lead us to, there's a website there. Okay, good. So now we want to figure out how do we go about exploiting that. And so what the exercise wants us to do, it wants us to use this tool that's really helpful. It's the WAPP analyzer. Okay, what is that? WAP Paylaser? I don't know, something like that. So we need it in this case for Firefox. So let's go ahead and click it. And let's install the plugin. But what this is going to do is it's going to allow us to analyze the technologies that the website was created with. So let's get this installed. And this is my first time doing this. We'll need to add the extension. Once again, I try to minimally go through the exercise just to make sure I can create a good guide for these. But I want to do as much of this live so you can kind of see the process. All right, so I can see in the top right hand corner, I now have the plugin. So let's go back to the actual website. Right here, I'm going to refresh. All right, and then let's see how this tool is used. I'm going to click on it. Well, that's weird. I didn't really get much out of the tool. Okay, I paused the video just for a second because it wasn't coming up with anything. So now, I don't know what it is, but maybe it'll take just a while just in case you're doing this tutorial, okay? And it says that, well, I don't want to send anonymous information to anybody. So what they want to illustrate is this program, this plugin is something at your disposal, which allows you to be able to analyze a website. And what you're particularly looking at, see, it's the same thing that we picked up on our Nmap scan. So it tells us that the Apache web server 2.4.41, let's compare that to our Nmap scan. And by the way, it is very good to like typically open up, once you do your Nmap scan, open up in a different window so that that stays open and that you don't have to scroll to get to it. Just something that I should probably do more often. Okay, so that looks good. And then let's see what else we got from this tool. Do we see PHP? Because that's what it wants to illustrate, is that we have PHP available. And that's really interesting. So it shows JavaScript libraries, but it doesn't show the fact that this website is built in PHP. We do know the operating system. So anyway, that's interesting. So what we're going to do now is, now that we've done the analyzer, we're going to transition back. We're going to do something that you did with the previous exercise, which means we're going to use GoBuster, and we're going to do some directory traversal at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and let me create this. And I'm using Control+ to do this. This is one of the best things that I ever learned, to be honest, is to be able to do that. So I've already got the GoBuster command typed out. So let's make sure this looks good, and we'll troubleshoot it if we need to. So GoBuster directory, showing that we're going to do directory traversal, which means we're trying to identify all the different directories on this website. That's going to be really important. -D, that's actually probably, that should probably be a -H at this point. Let me double check that command. And in fact, I don't know, that's not -H, it should be a -U. Not sure what happened there. This command is not going to be correct because the version of GoBuster that I'm running should just take a -U for URL and -W. We'll try it this way. Let's see if it runs. And if not, I'll change it. Okay, so GoBuster is not installed. So let's go ahead and do a quick install. I did a tutorial earlier today, so I thought GoBuster was still installed, but I must roll back my VM at this point. So this will be really quick to install it. But once again, all you have to do is type GoBuster, and when you type it, if it's not installed, Kali Linux will prompt you to install it. Now there we go. So now if I bring up this command, notice that GoBuster has changed from a red, saying this is not something we recognize, to green. Now when I run this, I'm expecting it to error out because first of all, the URL, let's see if the URL has changed. No, that is the correct URL. But I think what's happening here is that the syntax is different. I found this early. So the guy shows URL. I think all you need is a -U and a -W to make this work. Okay, and there we go. So now we're doing our directory traversal at this point. So we're going to let this run, and then we'll move on to our next step. Okay, so now that GoBuster has finished this, the scan, what we're seeing here is that we've got an index.html, but look there, we got a login.php. That's what they want to emphasize, is that once you're using this tool to identify places where you can either exploit or bypass or something. And so a login page is going to be good to do that. So the way that we get to it is we simply go to the application and we put a /login.php, and we do that. So that gives us the login page. Now, of course, immediately we do have usernames and passwords that we've already like retrieved, right? So when we did the get, we did our cat command, there were several usernames and passwords that we were able to see. And I'll just do it again if I need to. I think I got them on this screen here. Okay, let's see if we can find those again. So what we want to do is now we're going to take these and we're going to brute force this, but it also emphasizes that if we were going to do this, say for instance, if we found thousands or tens of thousands or even millions of username and passwords, well, we don't want to do this manually because we may have the credentials to get in, but we don't have the time to do it. So the way that we get past this is we simply would use something like Metasploit or some other program that's going to basically take the username and passwords and run every single combination. So it'd be like, a good example, it would be admin, admin root, admin super secret password 1, admin base whatever, admin other password. Then it would be pawn meow root, pawn meow super secret. So it's going to basically every username, every password combination until we get through the end. So for us, we're going to do a brute force, but we're going to do a mini brute force. So control, I'm going to click on this. I don't need to do that for admin. Well, let's try admin and root first. See if that works. I don't ever want you to save my password. Okay, so that didn't work. So let's move on to our next one. So admin, and we'll try the super secret password. Control Shift C is how we copy that. Let's try this second combination. Okay, that didn't work either. Moving on to the third one, we'll try admin and we'll try this password. And make sure you don't copy any spaces or anything that can possibly mess this up. Now, why is it that we're going for admin? That's the guide. So, all right, admin right there. Control Shift V. Actually, just Control V and paste it. All right, and nothing yet. Well, we'll get lucky on the last one. Control Shift C. Admin. Control V. And we'll hit the sign in button. And we're lucky, so we got in. So now that we're on the inside, we're actually looking for the flag. And what they do is they give it to you right there. So there's actually the flag. So now let's change over. Let's go ahead and answer these questions. I hope this was really like easy for you to understand. We're going to go ahead and copy that for the very end. Now let's walk through the questions and see if we can answer these. So question number 1, what MF scanning switch employs the use of scripts during the scan? This is going to be the default scripts -SC. Remember this? And it is case sensitive. Okay, so let's submit that answer. See if that worked. All right, good deal. What service version is found to be running on port 21? So we need to know the FTP version. This is where we go back to the MF scan. And this is going to be, what is it? VSFTP was the version. VSFTP 3.0.3. And then you got to be really precise with this. And I like how they do this. So VSFTP 3.0.3. Click the submit button. Okay, so I typed something wrong. So let's make sure it's VSFTPD 3.0.3. Okay, so let's VSFTPD 3.0.3. Okay, there we go. Perfect. What FTP code is returned to use anonymous for the anonymous FTP login? So what FTP code is returned to us for the anonymous FTP login message? All right, this is where we're going to go back to the terminal window. And let's go back in when we're doing our FTP connection to it. All right, and let's see if we can see 203, is it 230, login successful? Let's make sure. We'll try this first. Submit the answer. I don't think it's looking for that. Okay, that's what's looking. Okay. All right, so 230. What command can we use to download files we find on the FTP server? That's going to be get command. You remember that one? What is one of the higher privilege what is one of the higher privilege sounding usernames in the list? So this is a good one. So remember we went through the list. Like, you got to think about the way that you go about approaching these hacks, because you've got several accounts, and as a hacker, you're always trying to get access to the account that has the most permissions. And if you look at these, Aaron, pawn meow, egotistical, admin, which of these do you think is going to be the most, or it's going to have the most privileges, right? And just based on everything we know, that's going to be admin. What version of the Apache HTTP server is running on the target host? So we got a couple of ways to do this, and I'll show you. So remember, we downloaded the tool. So let me show you number one. We can go back to our Nmap scan, and this is why I told you put it on a separate, just create a new tab, or there's other tools that allow you to have multiple tabs open at one time. I'm going to start testing those at some point and using one of those. All right, but let's look through. We need to look at the Apache version. So it's Apache HTTPD 2.4.41. So let's go back and let's see if it wants it. Okay, it just wants us 2.4.41 is what it's looking for. Perfect. All right. And then what is the name of the handy website analysis plugin we can install in our browser? And we got this one right here. We can just click on the browser right there. It's behind my actual picture, but the name is WAP Analyzer. And so we've got the website right here, WAPPALYEZ. That's a weird name. WAPPALYZER. Let's see if we can get this in on the first time. WAPPA. Sorry, WAPPALYZER. Submit that answer. You see it right there on the browser. So that's cheat code. What switch can we use with GoBus to specify we're looking for specific file types? This is going to be at the end of it. It was the -X. Had to look at my notes right there for that one. And then what file have we found that can provide us a foothold on the target? We did the login.php. I believe that's what it's looking for. It is. And then finally, we have the flag. And did we get it? All right, congratulations. So we just pawned Crocodile. I hope y'all can hear the music and stuff like that and the on the recording. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you were able to walk through the entire thing. I'm doing these videos and I'm going to complete the entire series. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I'm doing this intentionally. I may be losing some people, but for those of you that are serious, then you're watching these videos all the way through and you're getting all the details. And I want to make sure I fill this in so it's clear as possible. But anyway, I would appreciate a thumbs up and a subscribe to the channel and some comments every now and then letting me know how I'm doing. Thanks for watching.